Howdy, my name is Allison Prince. I'm the President and CEO of United Way of the Brazos Valley. We serve as the local campaign manager for the State Employee Charitable Campaign. And if you're joining us today, you are the employer coordinator at your state agency. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of information with you to help equip you to be the most successful as you possibly can be in your campaign efforts over the next few months. So first of all, I want to say thank you because what you are doing means so much to us across the community. The State Employee Charitable Campaign raises millions of dollars every year for nonprofit organizations across Texas, and it all comes from state employees making gifts through payroll deduction or through a donation at a fundraiser at your workplace. It's a really, really neat thing to see so many people coming together to do so much for their community. Like I said, I'm Allison Prince. I serve as a local campaign manager for this region, for the 7-county Brazos Valley region. Also helping me from United Way is Peggy Goss. She's our VP of Community Impact. And what she does is anything related to the charities. And so she helps with the charity application review process in February and March. And then she also helps be the liaison between us as a local campaign manager and the charities in our region. Please feel free to contact us at any time if you have questions about what to do next or needing to get in contact with someone or needing materials or anything like that. Before we dive in, I wanted to give you guys some website resources because I think these are really helpful for you to kind of keep on your fingertips so that you can use them as you need to throughout your campaign effort. So first of all is SECCtexas.org that has general information and a link to online searching for charity names. So if you're trying to find that 6-digit code that's needed in order to designate to a specific charity and you don't know how to find, you don't have any access to the paper materials, which hopefully you will in the next week or two, you can also search it online. Everything's available online. If you're also looking for our contact information, it's there. There's also some resources as a coordinator within a state agency for you to look through. SECCtexasgiving.org is where employees can go to make an online or a paperless donation through payroll deduction. Not all state agencies use this system, so I would confirm with your state agency whether or not you are on that system and able to use that system for giving. If you're an A&M or system employee, I would refer you to tamus.edu/SECC. That's got a lot of resources specific to Texas A&M University and the system employees. And then lastly, and most new, is our YouTube channel that we started here in the Brazos Valley. You'll go to youtube.com and then search SECC Brazos Valley, and that will bring up the YouTube channel. We've linked to several charities videos about their organizations. Since this year it's a little bit different, you're not able to have them come out necessarily and talk to your employees or go visit them or anything like that. We've worked with them to develop lots of videos so that they can share a little bit with you about what donations go to and how you're helping to benefit them. So I just encourage you to check those out. So we're going to jump into kind of the training. I'm going to keep this pretty high level today. Mostly for time. I know that watching pre-recorded Zoom sessions is not the most interesting thing in the world, so I'm going to keep this pretty high level. But remember, if you've got anything that piques any questions for you, please just reach out to me and let me know, and we will talk through your situation individually, and we'll kind of come up with some custom ideas for you and what you're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to get done for your efforts. The State Employee Charitable Campaign has been around for over 25 years. It was created by state legislation, so this is a kind of a mandated and regulated campaign for state employees. It is the only opportunity for state employees to make a gift through payroll deduction to a charity of their choice. It is 100% donor designated, which means that the donor gets to select where they want those funds to go from a list of approved charities. That list is thousands long. There's a small mini directory that you'll have access to that you can hand out to employees that has just the statewide agencies statewide charities along with the local charities here in the Brazos Valley. But then there's also a paper booklet that you can get that's a little bit longer that has everybody in it, but also I'd refer you to that website, SECCtexas.org, and you can search on there and find the charity that you're looking for and see if it's in there. Oftentimes as an employer coordinator, you may be asked, why is my charity not included, the one that I want to to give to. Why is it not on there? A lot of it has to do with the charity didn't apply. So that's a process that happens much earlier in the year, back in February and March. And so they're approved for that year, and then they're included in that fall campaign. So if anyone asks, that could be the answer. And the best thing to do is encourage that individual charity to apply to the State Employee Charitable Campaign. The way that this campaign structure works, it's, like I said, governed by state statute. So there is a state policy committee that regulates and reviews everything that's done within the State Employee Charitable Campaign. From there, there's a state employee committee that has representatives of employees from state agencies. And then there's the state campaign manager. The state campaign manager is like what we do here at United Way as a local campaign manager, but they do it just at the state level. That's actually United Ways of Texas right now. Local campaign managers as well as state campaign managers have to apply in order to hold that name. So it is a competitive bid opportunity. At the local level, we are governed by a local employee committee. Some of you may even serve on that committee, and thank you. That committee reviews those applications for charities to be included. They help us kind of set some tone and of activities throughout the campaign season, and help us just stretch our arms around with campaign. And then again, the local campaign manager, and that's us here in the local level. We do everything administrative with the campaign. So we make sure you get the materials. We make sure that everything gets collected back up. We count everything. We take care of all of the designations to charities here locally and across the state that from people in our region that have made donations. So we have a lot of administrative tasks that we do for the campaign. I already spoke about this just a little bit, but there is a charity review process. They have to apply, there's an administrative review, and then that local employee committee does review those agencies and confirm that they are those charities, and confirm that they are eligible to receive, to be designated charity. Just a couple dates to keep in mind. The pledge period is September 1st, October 31st. That's when everyone has to complete all of their information. Reports are due to the local campaign manager by November 4th, so please get those to us as quickly as possible. And then payroll deductions begin January 1st. So this is the fall season where the people make their pledges, and then those deductions begin in January and run on a calendar year. You as the campaign coordinator at your workplace have a couple different roles. You get to be the liaison between us, the local campaign manager, and your state agency office. You're going to help pick up, distribute, and collect campaign materials and pledge information. So your job is to make sure that co-workers are engaged in the campaign. We always encourage 100% ask, not necessarily 100% participation. So if you let that guide your thoughts of 100% ask, let me make sure that I reach every nook and cranny of my state agency that I'm working in, and make sure that everybody is given the opportunity to give, and then leave it up to them of whether or not they want to give. And then also your job can also entail planning other fundraising activities. I know that's going to look a little bit different this year because of COVID-19. And we at United Way have actually recorded a training session on adapting workplace campaign fundraisers in the socially distant workplace. And so there's a link on our website that you can see. I've also sent that out to all of you as well. And if you need that, just ask me and I'll send you the link to that training. You're just really the go-to person for educating, motivating, and inspiring your fellow employees. Yes, there's some administrative stuff that you have to do, but don't forget that more than anything is just to be able to share the value of individuals' gifts, that their gift is appreciated by charities. It does go to the charities. It makes a difference. It makes an impact. There's so many things that charities are not able to do if they don't receive gifts through the State Employee Charitable Campaign. So while I am one organization that does receive funding or does receive donations through the State Employee Charitable Campaign as an agent, as a charity, I also, as a local campaign manager, will speak on behalf of all of the charities here locally and saying thank you so much. And please pass along our thanks to all of the donors and employees in your workplaces for their gift, because everything really does make a huge impact. You don't have to make a very big gift to be impactful to the charity. Donations of just a couple dollars a week or a month really do add up and become big things for those charities. So thank you guys for what you're doing and for your time and dedication to this. I know this is an extra role, especially in times of COVID when all of our worlds are turned a little upside down. I really appreciate you still doing this and helping make a difference in our community. So there's a couple different ways that you can make a gift to the State Employee Charitable Campaign. There's also, of course, there's always payroll deductions. That can be done with paper or online pledging, depending on your state agency. So I would check with them. Each of you should receive paper pledge forms from us. We have plenty more. So if you run out, please let me know. Payroll deduction is always a really, really great way to give. A couple things about payroll deduction. Number one, it's super easy. You make a one-time pledge, or you pledge one time and it's deducted a little bit over the course of the next year. It also allows people generally to give more than they would in a one-time gift. I don't know about you, but for me to sit down and write a check for $500, that's pretty painful, and that hits my family budget pretty quickly. But if I could give $500 over 12 months pretty easily. That's less than about $40 a month. Coming out of my paycheck, I might not even notice it. So payroll deduction is really simple. It's really clean. It makes it nice and easy. There's no having to keep up with receipts of your donations at the end of the year when you get your W-2. It's on there already. So it's just nice and easy for tax documentation purposes. And it also allows you to be charitable and philanthropic, even if you're not able to make a huge gift. And really, there is no gift too small. Just $2 a paycheck. If that's $24 a year or over $50 a year, that really does make a big difference to a charity. So please don't think that just if it's a couple dollars, I should just do that one time. Payroll deduction really does make a difference. And generally, if we encourage payroll deduction, giving goes up because people will give a little bit more when they are able to do it through payroll deduction. This year with COVID-19, it also is probably one of the safest ways to give because there's less exchanging of paperwork and money, and it's just easy and seamless to do it. One pledge, one time allows them to give over the course of 12 months. With that said, cash and check are still accepted. This year, the state policy committee did approve the use of debit and credit card gifts. I would check with your state agency about how to go about doing that because some state agencies have different rules on how to process that. So we're still working out those details. That just got approved about 2 weeks ago by the state policy committee. So we're still figuring out exactly how we can do that. And then also for this fundraising events, and I know some of our state agencies do a lot with fundraising events, and that might be a little more challenging, but there are still ways to do some really fun, creative fundraising events in your workplace that still can be safe and socially distant and done nice and seamlessly and carefully. So keep that in mind that all of that is okay. So when you are making your gifts, the pledge forms, just be sure if you're using a paper copy, when your employees are making a paper copy, the white copy goes to your HR office, the yellow copy comes back to us, although double check with your HR office because some of our state agencies like Texas Department of Criminal Justice, that goes all to your HR or your SECC contact and then it'll eventually come to us. But eventually we will get the yellow copy of the pledge form, and then the pink copy goes to the donor. That's form number 1 for their IRS documentation. They're going to need that pledge form as well as their W-2, and that will serve as their receipt for their tax documentation. There is some online giving opportunities, and we'll give you guys the links to those. So I would say check out that handout for details and instructions on how to make those online giving if you're able to do that, because like I said, not all state agencies use the online giving portal. If you are doing a fundraiser, if you're doing a group fundraiser at your workplace, what we encourage is that you select at least one charity to be the designee of those donations. This is done at a group level, not at the individual level. So if someone's buying a brownie for 50 cents, they can't say, I want this to go to Scotty's house and I want this 50 cents to go to Twin City Mission. You guys make that decision as a fundraiser. Be sure to fill out a pledge form for that in order to document that fundraiser. When you are filling out a pledge form, or what they also will say is authorization forms, when you're filling one of those out for a fundraiser, it's really helpful if you put some information. You don't need to give the individual information, obviously, but things that are helpful is to include what the name of the fundraiser was. So if you're at the Hamilton unit and you're doing a bake sale, to put that on there so we can kind of track that. Something else that's really helpful if you can, and we understand that if you're doing bake sales, you might not know, but if you're doing a raffle or you're doing a auction or a silent auction or something like that, being able to say the number of donors is also helpful. If you can't get that information, that's fine. But if you do know that 15 people gave, just write 15 people gave, and that helps us get a better accurate count of how many people are giving through SECC. Again, not required, but just really helpful for us if you're able to do that. I put this on here, that handling cash and checks, that everything comes to the LCM, but again, double check that TDCJ. Y'all will not send cash and checks to us. You'll send them to your state contact for the SECC, and then it will come to us eventually. But other agencies like HHSC or TxDOT or DPS, that will come directly to us, but be sure that you've got a pledge form with all of that. You're welcome to mail stuff to our office. You're also welcome to drop it by, or just let us know and we'll come by and pick it up. It's not a problem for us to pick it up. If you want to get really, really paperless and you don't want to have, or not paperless, but don't want to have contact with us at all, we can arrange that you could drop it off and deposit it straight to the bank, to our bank account if you'd like to do that. We're able to do that with Texas A&M, so we can do that for you, for other state agencies as well. I'm sorry, I went backwards in my slides. So just a couple other details about campaign. Remember that the employees can select the charities that they wish to support, and the directories are available in many directories. Those are the little folded ones, the SEC directories, the bigger booklets that look like a little bit of newspaper, and then SECCtexas.org. So just to kind of switch gears a little bit, that was kind of going into some details of campaign, but now we're going to go into kind of some overview of just kind of what it means to be a state employee, a coordinator, and kind of what are some best practices. Best practices are just simply learning from other people. Other people have done this, they've seen experience success with this, so these are the best practices. So I love best practices because other people have made mistakes and found out that it didn't work, and so I can skip over that and just do the things that work. So these are the things that work really well in running an SECC campaign in your workplace. Something to think about with COVID-19, and this is what we train kind of across all of our campaigns, is that the best practices haven't really changed. How you go about those best practices, though, those may have changed a little bit. And so we'd encourage you just kind of spend some time thinking about how do you adapt some of these for COVID-19 and social distance and things like that. I can't tell you all of those tips and tricks and what will work for your workplace because each of your workplaces look differently. Some of y'all might be working completely remotely and you haven't seen your coworkers face-to-face since March. Others are still right there in the trenches with each other every single day, but just having to stay 6 feet away and wearing masks. So you'll have to adapt these based on what works in your workplace. If you get anywhere that you're just like, I don't even know what to do, how are we gonna go about this? Pick up the phone, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll sit and brainstorm and talk it through and figure out something that to be successful for you. There's some resources that I'd encourage you to take advantage of. A lot of these are on SECC Texas under, I think it's called Campaign Toolkit. Coordinator Resources, that website is linked right there. The Campaign Coordinator Guide, it's a little open booklet. I gave each one of those in all of the materials as well, so you should be able to get your hands on it, as well as I tried to share the 10 steps to a successful campaign handout. That's another great little tool. And I've said it so many times already, but remember, Peggy and I are here to help you, as well as each other. Don't forget that you're only one state agency. There's a lot of state agencies in our region, and there's a coordinator at each of them that are all trying to figure this out. So don't forget that you can reach out to each other in this region, as well as other agency coordinators at your state agency across the state. So you can reach out to them and just say, hey, what kind of tips or tricks do you have? Successes are you seeing that we can implement here? There really are 5 best practices to campaign. The other handout says 10 tips. That one goes into a little bit different detail, but I like to kind of keep it nice and simple and bring it into 5 really great tips. Number 1, recruit a team. Don't do this by yourself. Number 2, lock down those logistics. Just kind of plan out what you're going to do and then stick to the plan. Of course, things have to adapt, as we all have had to adapt because of COVID-19, but at least write down a plan and then you'll go from there. Incorporate leadership giving. Can't stress that enough, so I'll talk about that. Rally the troops and make the ask. I've talked about 100% ask. That's really, really important. We'll touch on it. And then something that's so easy to forget, but so critically important, is reporting it back to us, number one, so we can help get a count and know what to do with those donations once they start coming in January, but also thanking the donors and informing the donors, helping connect them throughout the year. Your job, while it's just campaign is 2 months, your job really could go all year, and you really could a couple times a year just share something that you've learned about one of the charities that's benefiting from State Employee Charitable Campaign, and share that with the employees and just say, hey, look at this cool thing that's happening. Plan a volunteer project at your workplace for one of those charities. We'd be happy to help connect you and find a charity that you can do that. That'd be great to do in January, February, right after those payroll deductions start coming out. And people are like, should I have done this? Boom, they can do a project helping make hygiene kits for Twin City Mission. All of a sudden they're like, yeah, this is why I'm giving to a nonprofit, because I believe in the work that they're doing and look at the cool things that they're doing. I get to be hands-on and help that. So those are always great team building activities that you can do and integrate into the SECC efforts. So this really can be a year-round activity. So I'll go into a little bit more detail on all of those, but again, I'm going to keep this pretty high level. If you have any questions or want to talk through this or any more, let me know. Really your team, a good recommendation that I've seen for the size of a campaign team is one person on the team for every 25 employees. So of course, if you're in a state agency here that only has 4 employees, you probably don't need a team. You probably can be a team of 1 and be okay, because you can get to 100% ask pretty quick. But if you've got 200, 300, 400 employees, it might be helpful for you to get a couple people that can help you. How you set that up is really kind of dependent on the size and structure of your company. Is it right for it to be one person from each department or kind of aspect of work, or is it from each branch office in the region? Just different things like that. Those campaign team members can help you with different aspects of the campaign. You can assign one person. You're in charge of all of the email communications. This person's in charge of all of the fundraisers. This person's in charge of the logistics and collecting everything together. Or you guys can all just kind of work together on that, but communicate with each other so that you're all kind of helping each other in what you're doing. Recruiting a team can make the campaign so much more successful, so much easier on you, and raising so much more money. When you see that there's 3 or 4 people that are really working on this together, maybe even 10 people working on this together, I bet you're gonna raise a lot more money. And ultimately, raising more money means that more can be done for our community. More nonprofits are served. That means more people in need are served. So locking down those logistics. Once you get your plans or your team together, it's time to kind of start planning. And it's pretty quick. It's already August 20th. Campaign kicks off September 1st. So you got a couple weeks to kind of pull things together. Remember that 8-week window is just the window in which people can pledge. You don't have to have activities going all 8 weeks. In fact, what we see to be most successful is a campaign of about 2 or 3 weeks. So to give people a timeline within those 8 weeks of 2 or 3 weeks to get things done. So if it's really crazy right now for you, wait a couple weeks, get some planning done, kick it off mid-August. You could wrap it up the mid-September. You could wrap it up the 1st or 2nd week of October, and boom, you're done, no problem. You don't have to give everybody 8 weeks in order for this campaign to run. Get your leadership involved in what you're doing. Set a goal. We always encourage setting a goal. People respond to goals. I'm going to give you guys a really quick anecdote story real quick of some success we saw in our non-state agency workplace campaign. Last year, one of our companies, HEB, we all love HEBs, right? HEB has been a longtime supporter to United Way. And of course, as they open more stores, of course, the fundraising amounts go up. But what we were seeing at a store-by-store case was that the donations were really going down. And we had really lost that connection with them. We were not, we hadn't been training their coordinators the way that we are now and things like that. And so we had seen that their campaign slide a little bit. It was still a very impressive campaign, but we just knew from seeing HEBs in other regions, we knew what the potential was. They had raised as much as $100,000 with a couple stores a few years ago, and they were down to 6 stores raising about $65,000. And so we were like, something can be done here. So last year, we pulled them together. We did some training, one best practice of we built a team, and we set a goal. We said, we think you guys at 6 stores can raise $100,000 easily. And we went and took them on agency tours. Of course, this year we'd encourage doing the agency videos instead. And we just really spent some time with them and worked with them. and set that goal and kept going back to that goal and saying, do you guys think you're going to make it? Do you think you're going to make it? And turned out they raised $125,000. They more than doubled their campaign in 1 year, just because, and I think it really does go to, each of them knew they were working towards a goal. They spread that information into their stores. They also got a little competition between stores, and really were just like, we want to make a huge impact in our community. People love being a part of something. And when you communicate that goal, even if it's a big stretch goal, when you communicate that, people will check in and say, how close are we? Are we doing, I'll give $5 more if it's going to get us there. You know, people want to be a part of that goal. Establish a timeline. Think through, when do you want to do these things? Are you still going to be able to do rallies in which you pull people into a room together and talk to them? Or are you going to need to do more one-on-one communication or electronic communication? Really talk through how are you going to communicate this? How are you going to get this information out that there's an opportunity to give? I really think that the ask doesn't have to be a really uncomfortable personal thing that you have to do. When you share with people how the gifts can make a difference, and then you say, here are the opportunities for you to do that too, people will a lot of times just jump right in and say, yeah, I'll give $2 a week, or I'll give $10 a month, or however much they can afford. So sit down, plan out some of those logistics. Let us know how we can help you guys on those if you need some brainstorming. And if you do want us to still come out and do a presentation to your employees, or bring an agency with you, or with us, I'm sorry, a charity with us, we are happy to still do that. We will wear masks, we'll wear gloves when we're handing out materials. We really can still do those things. We will meet you where you are in your campaign and be there with you right along the way. This was mentioned on the previous slide, but incorporating the leadership giving and leadership support. So on the previous slide, what leadership support, what it was talking about is getting whoever the highest manager, director, whatever it's called in your agency, getting them on board and tuned into what you're doing, that they have your voice, they're lending their voice of support is so important for a campaign. Incorporating leadership giving, what this is talking about is encouraging people to give at higher levels. There are a lot of people who give at the $1,000 level, which is considered a leadership giver, that you would not expect. In our region last year, we had just about 70 individuals who gave at least $1,000. You'd be surprised where they came from. They aren't all just the highest paid employees in our state agencies. When people see that there's something that is important to give to, they will give in a sizable way. And like I said, when you do it, $1,000 over payroll deduction, that's $84 a month. It's really pretty manageable. If you get paid twice a month, it's $40 a paycheck. It really becomes very doable and a lot less intimidating. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I gave $1,000 over the course of a year. That's awesome. It really is a cool thing to do. There are a couple special recognitions that we try to incorporate throughout campaign. Of course, it is challenging this year because of COVID-19, but we are still trying to incorporate those. Rally those troops and make the ask. We always encourage people to ask, because like I say on that tip, the #1 reason people give is because they were asked. That's it. That's it. All you have to do is just give people the opportunity to give, and a lot of times they will give. So make sure that you ask. Remember, we're aiming for 100% ask, not necessarily 100% giving. Some people will have very very reasonable reasons, logical reasons why they cannot give, and that's okay. We don't want to make them feel shamed or pushed or required to give. We don't want them to feel coerced to give. We want them to give because they feel connected to one of those charities. They want to make a difference. They believe in the work that all of these organizations are doing, and so they want to give. We'd encourage some form of a kickoff party. Now, of course, parties are going to look different this year, so it could be a quickly recorded video from your agency leadership that you just share across via email, or you share it during in a break room or something like that over lunch. Just kind of communicating, hey, this is kicking off. Here's our dates. Here are our plans. Be a part of this. Here's our goal. And be a part of this. Help us reach our goal and help us make a difference in the community. Use materials to promote. We have provided campaign posters as well as goal posters. Some people call them thermometer posters. It looks like a big thermometer and you can fill it as you go. People love those. So if you need more of those, let us know and we'll get you a couple more that you can put them up around your workplace. We'd also encourage you guys to think about incorporating some giving incentives. People always love a reason. Like, of course, the reason to give is because it's good for our community and you believe in the work. But also people will do some pretty interesting things when there's something great involved. And it doesn't have to always cost a lot of money. If you're able to, I've seen amazing raffles of televisions, or not raffles, of giving incentives of televisions and grills and Apple Watches and all sorts of things. Workplaces will do amazing things for their employees, and even some of those at your state agencies. But if you're not able to do those things, there are some things that you can do that would incentivize people to give. A free parking spot. So what I've seen there is you designate like the closest parking spot at your workplace to the United Way, or I'm sorry, to the SECC parking spot. Once a month, if you set a giving level that if whoever gives at this level will be put in for a drawing, and once a month you pull a name and that person gets the parking spot for that month. That way you also get 12 winners over the course of a year, which is great. People love to get that parking spot. How about just some department bragging rights? Create some competition between departments, and the one who gives the department that gives the most has the bragging rights of the top giver department. Tchotchke items. We've provided you guys with some tchotchke items, some hand sanitizers. I have one on my desk, pens, chip clips, but there's also some low cost things that you can get, just even some $5 Amazon gift cards and things like that, that people will be happy to make a donation in order to be put in for a raffle opportunity to win. And even just sometimes a pizza and ice cream party. I always say, if you hit your goal, if we hit our company goal, we'll do this in celebration of that for everybody. And amazingly, people, even grown-ups, will still run for ice cream and do things because they just love ice cream. So remember, make that ask. Lastly, I already talked about this a little bit, but report, thank, and inform. Don't forget to get those reports back to us. I apologize, I missed a date on there, but November 4th, 2020 is when those are due back to us. But then don't forget to thank the individuals. Thank your team who helped you. Thank your leadership who voiced support. And then also thank the employees. You don't have to do a handwritten thank you note to each one of them, but just some general thank yous. You will actually be one of the people that may see how much people give, and you may see that you're really surprised by how much people give. And then, so you can always just say, I really appreciate what you did. I really appreciate you giving. Of course, don't talk with them about how much they gave. That should be confidential information, but you get to see who's making those donations. So there'd be nothing wrong with just saying, hey, I really appreciate your support to the State Employee Charitable Campaign. Or you can do an email blast or a special lunch for them, however. And that's always a great time to reconnect and inform them. Doing a quick thank you lunch and have one of the charities come out and just share a little bit about what they're doing with the funds that are raised through SECC Campaign. The last thing that I always say is don't forget to announce how much you raised. A lot of times we work towards it, and then we just go, oh, thank goodness it's done. It's all sent in, I'm done, boom. But don't forget to share that. Even if you didn't hit your goal, that's okay. Being able to say we made 97% of goal or 85% of goal, whatever it is, it's always important to report that back out, because people like to know, hey, whatever happened with that? Where did my $2 go? Where did my $20 go? Where did my $200 go? To be able to say, hey, it helped us raise X number of dollars to designate to X number of charities, here, this many in the Brazos Valley, this many outside of the Brazos Valley. Let me know if you ever want any of those kind of statistics. We can help you guys pull those together as well. So in getting ready for your campaign, that's the end of our best practices. I'm sure there's lots more out there, but we kind of try to keep it short and roll them all into different things together. If you're ever like, oh, I need a good best practice, just call me. We'll talk about some different ideas, and I'll share a best practice with you. Your campaign materials are ready to pick up. Some of y'all have already done that, which is wonderful. If you have not, get in contact with me via email or phone, and we will coordinate a time. If you need them dropped off, we can coordinate that too. If you are one of our state agencies that has an office way outside of town, let us know. We can meet halfway. If you're not coming to Bryan or College Station, worst case scenario, we can mail them. It's a little bit slower, and I don't always trust that they'll make it there on time. And so I just want to make sure that you have them. We're happy to make a quick drive out to you and just share with you guys get the materials to you. Let me know if you need other materials or if you need other support during the campaign. We're always here for you. Again, I'm just sharing this slide again at the end. I've already done this one time, but these are the website resources to help you with success. And then, of course, last and most importantly, thank you. What you are doing really does make a difference. What your time and your effort, if you're ever at that point where you're just like, oh, why are we doing SECC? It's just more work for me during this time of the year. Stop, pick up the phone and call me, and I will share with you at least one, if not more, stories on why what you're doing is so impactful and so important and so appreciated. Nonprofit organizations exist to serve where government agencies like yours and for-profit businesses cannot serve. We are here to fill the gaps. We are here to pick up where others cannot, and we rely on the donations of others in order to do that, and we are proud to do that, and we love doing this work. So thank you so much for supporting us in this way and helping us have a successful year. You guys know where to find me if you need me. Thank you guys so much, and have a great campaign.